Now we got the big boy. Currently, the victor of 3 S-tier Age of Mythology Retold tournaments. He is the man to beat. And look at this. He's picked Arena as one of his maps. I don't know if we're actually going to see it or not. El Matador is going to have to win a game, I think, for Mr. to have that map pick. But our first map here is going to be Loki versus Zeus on Alfheim. What? Would you expect these gods ever to come through on this map?
Well, yeah, on this map. I mean, the Loki map, the Loki pick is not a surprise. On Alfheim, yes, it is a surprise. I guess playing Greek on Alfheim, I mean, that's not the most far-fetched idea in the world. I just think it's interesting to see Loki versus Zeus. Again, everybody's gonna, we're gonna have Loomberg in the chat just crying at me, Norse OP, Norse OP. I don't know, man. I think that I've seen so many instances where Zeus, that restoration push, is just so brutal against Norse. Maybe I'm scarred from it, but I think I don't think it's just a straight win for Mista. If anything,
it's always difficult beating Zeus, right? Zeus is always a tricky god for Norse to beat, but on a map like Alfheim, with all of those choke points and delayed sort of things, right? You can make some shenanigans happen, right?
Yes, you can also at the same time there's trolls, man. The trolls are really strong, so those little choke points, you got to be careful with those choke points if there's a lot of trolls. If those Greek heroes can't get in to hit those trolls, I don't know, man. There's some choke pointy positions where
for sure. I mean, we've got about 20 seconds remaining. I just taking a quick look at the draft. Shenong for TheMista, Ra, Isis. We've got Uranus, Hades, and Freyr to look forward to. Your god right there. Got some excitement there. A little bit. I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think maybe Mr. expected Freyr to be the pick on Alfheim, and he feels comfortable playing Loki against it. We're going to see a completely different matchup though as we move into game number 1 here. On the right, in the right-hand corner of the map, playing as Loki, his name is TheMista. On the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Zeus, it is El Matador.
Well, so we didn't really talk much about El Matador, and this is, I think that El Matador's from Age of Empires 2, right? He's like a mix, he's like an AOM, AoE 2 player, right? He's a dual player kind of. And I don't know, I'm really excited to see what he's going to pull off. I think it's like ultimately his strats and his creativity and his whatnot, his prowess, it's going to be really tested here against a player like Mista. Mista's such a good player that if you make a small mistake, he's going to take advantage of it, and you're going into the next game, you're toast. So I think his strats are going to be really tested here against Mista.
Yeah, we got just the slightest weird thing happening. Haven't seen this one before. It's we've got a little bit of an odd UI problem. We're just going to deal with it. Not sure what's going on. First time I've seen it. First time everyone else has seen it. So we're going to ignore it for the time being. In the it's Alfheim. Back gold mine, it looks like, for TheMista. So he's going to be a little bit happy about that. Not going to have to deal with any sort of crazy positioning there or defensive problems. Maybe El Matador. You see the bottom town center, the bottom settlement, excuse me, for El Matador. There is a nice gold mine behind there with a little wall. He might be able to make that a point for defense, where he's going to be like maybe take the game more macro-ish rather than an aggressive Athena against the Loki. Might be able to find some value or something there. But I know El Matador. He's the multitasking guy. He's the RTS kind of huge APM. I think he's got the most effective APM on the ladder. So I know he wants to use that and try and maybe catch Mr. out. But I mean, I've seen Mr. play. You're not catching him out ever, it seems. So we'll see, Maiden. What do you think?
He's been caught out before, man. It's nobody's perfect. That's a high bar to be setting. Nobody's perfect, but you're not wrong, man. You're definitely not wrong. I don't know. I mean, Zeus doesn't really cater to that style, though. At least not against
Yeah,
not against Loki.
defensive is it's difficult. It's difficult. I'm just looking at like, are you really going to get the aggression? Maybe you just do it, but you kind of contain and go for the second gold mine stuff, second gold mine sort of control, like we saw with Mini Yeti versus Magic. Maybe that's the idea here. Very difficult, but maybe it's possible.
Well, look at the gold mine options for Mista. Like he does have an
Yeah,
option on the bottom and top side, but it's really far away from his base. There's some terrain in the way. And so, what is he going to go for? Yep, right there. It's wallable, but it's very far away from his main base. Are you going to go for this bad boy right, smack dab in the center? I mean, you're just kind of begging for a little action right there, even if it is technically closest to your base. I don't know. It's going to be tough for Mista, but I don't know. I don't know. I get the feeling that things are going to be pretty chill until about the 10-minute mark, 9-10 minute mark. Once these gold mines start to get low and run out, I think that's when things are going to get really spicy. But until that point in time, it's gonna take a minute. These guys are going to be careful. Matador's a good enough player. He's a good enough player that he's not just going to blindly or I'm going to say ignorantly just go aggressive and bash his head into against a Mista wall. I think he's going to be careful, not take bad fights and whatnot, and kind of bide his time. Same thing for
yeah.
Mista.
Mister
So
Mister Mister is the one who you see it time and time again. He orchestrates the perfect fight. If he can, that's what he's going to go for. He's got the vision with spy. He's already dropped his spy onto what did he drop it on? Maybe this on a villager, so he sees the main base. El Matador hiding buildings a little bit. I don't think Mister sees that forward building going up with the current spy position, but um
you can expect it.
yeah. Of course, you're going to expect to see you're going to expect to see hoplites and Zeus, but it's nice
Yeah.
to confirm these sort of things.
Well, the more important thing to see is like, is he going to go, one military academy, one archery range, double archery range? Unlikely, but no archery ranges.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, he is getting doing a little bit of pushing across the map, trying to get a little bit of that early pressure done. This is dangerous when you're playing against Norse. Like you can kind of make this happen, but if you get yourself caught out, you lose your Minotaur, you lose your hoplites. It could be very, 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 very difficult. So he's got to be careful. But El Matador getting some pressure, looking to maybe take out a house, taking out a tower here to open up this gold mine could be very big.
Yeah. Goldmine's not in a bad position, but if you allow a couple of buildings to go down, things start getting a little bit sketchy. Okay, Herser coming in, Boyd.
This is that move. Mister just walks forward. Does he? I don't think he's got that Hall of Fames just yet. But good amount of damage. You got the healing spring come through. Ensure that he gets all his units back at the full HP. El Matador has to turn around. I think we have to see a restoration here, but El Matador's not going to want to be using that. It's a great fight here for the Mister, doing huge damage.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I think that Matador, he maybe Matador Mista kind of set a trap for him. Walk into my base, and the Minotaur goes down before he can resto. That's a bummer for Matador for sure.
Mister is just going to build on this advantage. He's just picked off so much HP, so many units. He's going to try and snipe the hoplite as soon as the town center starts firing. He says, "All right, time to back out, take his win." And now, what does he do next? This is what I think makes Mister one of the best Age of. Well, obviously this is why I think he's the best Age of Mythology player right now. He is so good at punishing mistakes and then building on that advantage that he's made. So I'm really interested in what he goes for next, and it looks like his decision is let's just grab tech, medium infantry, medium cavalry. Great. Now, and then you go into the next stage.
Hall of Thanes also coming in. He's got a good number of RC right here. Instead of allowing Matador to just chill, his RC are all very full HP as well. I'd like to see a little bit, and there he goes, sending out those raiders. Perfect. Go just make sure Matador stays in his base, is not hunting outside of his base. Go poke, go prod, etc. Not allow Matador to just recover and recoup after after a little bit of a sketchy start.
Yeah, look at how sneaky Mister is right now. He sees those villages. He had a spy on him, and he goes, "I know exactly where I'm sending my guys." El Matador is like, I'm moving my villas out. I'm on this. They're not spied, but he sees that where else could they be? I guess, and he goes, "I'm going to hit this position," and he sees the villages, and this is going to be damage done. As one villager goes down, and the other three now caused to be idle back into the main base.
She deserved to die. She was just chilling,
Yeah,
enjoying
you can't
the views.
you can't be watching a mountain in a game of Age of Mythology. You got to be get me the food, get me the wood, get me the gold. It's a
Yeah,
busy time.
exactly.
Busy
She
time to be
deserved
an Age of Mythology Greek villager.
There's things to do. Okay.
That's right. That's
right. Okay. I want to keep an eye real quick on just a quick span over Mista's base. Do we see armory? Do we see market? Any sort of potential view at heroic age? I don't think so, but just keeping our eyes on it. Okay.
Yeah, one interesting
Okay.
upgrade coming through now for TheMista is Eyes in the Forest. I love this upgrade. I think it's so cool because it gives you just it just gives you vision. So you send these raiding cavalry around the map, which normally have no line of sight, and all of a sudden, not only do they have what seems to be near infinite line of sight, but also the light, the sight, the vision that they get lingers for a little bit longer. So as you walk through, you get to see that area. If we go into Mister's perspective, you might actually be able to see it happening. Right? Oh, he doesn't have the upgrade in now, so we have to wait for it to finish. But you'll see it happening a little bit later.
There we go. Here it comes. Oh, nice. Anyway, we also have Sarissa coming in. Speaking of good upgrades, we also have Sarissa coming in for those hoplites, those Zeus hoplites. So they're going to get that teensy bit of extra. What is it? It's 0.5 range, half range, or something like that. Boost to those.
So
hoplites.
It's actually, it doesn't like on the surface. You hear that and you go, "What range for my hoplites?" I mean, I guess they get to attack a little bit earlier, but realistically, what it means is pathfinding wise, when you get a lot of hoplites, I'm talking like 15, 20, 30 infantry units out, all of a sudden they start fighting, like their pathfinding becomes amazing, and they just like start fighting super early and get all the advantage. So it's a really, really big technology.
Oh yeah, very much so. There's a decent number of raiding cavalry on the map for Mista, so that's going to be a pretty valuable tech once they actually take an engagement. Mista's pre-queued her for Bragi. He's pre-queued Bragi, so he's trying to get up to heroic age. Matador, I think Matador resource. Oh no. That's Mista's resources we're looking at right now. He just needs a little bit more gold, and then he's going to be headed up to the heroic age. It's not quite there.
And I love this already. Mister sets up the gold protection already. He's got the walls there. He's completely safe on that bottom of the map, slowly starting to expand out his base. El Matador, on the other hand, I really like what he's done here. He's really given himself some room to operate in the walls here. He grabs his own gold mine. But yeah, he's actually really able to move around his base, and it's going to be really difficult for the Mister to actually make anything happen here. Getting a nice fight with this army with the flaming weapons, I don't really know if it's going to be easy. Like the wall down, sure, but then you walk through and you have like a really weird sort of position to fight on. I don't know. Let's see if El Matador can hold here. He does have restoration and a bolt in the bank.
Exactly. That's
in
what I was just going to. In the God Power Bank. It's a bank.
Yes.
It's a bank. You can buy. Of course, it's a bank. You can buy God Powers. Of course, it's a bank.
True.
In the God Power market.
But look at the next thing. The next thing is super interesting about what Mister does is he's always sort of got his range units and his melee units kind of in different sort of groups, and he's able to just snipe little bits of things here and there, and he gets the positioning really nice.
This is the calm before the storm. Like I mentioned, I thought we had a little bit of a bolt on a troll. We had a little bit of that aggression early from Matador, and he had to back off right away. We haven't really seen much, and here we go. Heroic is in, flaming weapons is possible, restoration to try and counter it. It's a big looking
Yeah, but
army
this
here, boy.
El Matador's army is looking really, really powerful. He's got to be at full population
Yes.
here. But I imagine heavy cavalry is already coming through. See a nice tower coming up. This could be a big help for garrison micro and things like that to keep himself alive. But Mr. has to break through this other wall to actually break through here. The throwing axeman, though, for the Mr. are doing a huge amount of damage.
Absolutely. There's the flaming weapons. There's the restoration. The Minotaur's dead. A bunch of units went down from those throwing axemen, like you mentioned. But the Talks, man, look at the Talks. They're just sitting back in that little corner, sniping, sniping, sniping. I don't know if it's going to be enough, and it's not. Matador doesn't think it's enough either. Boom. Mist takes game one with the flaming weapons in a fiery fashion.
Yeah, that was vintage Mr. to say the very least. Like he takes that tiny advantage. El Matador kind of overly aggressive early on, pushes forward, trying to make something happen, and classic Mister sets the trap, pounces, picks off a bunch of units, builds on that advantage beautifully. Great little cheeky raid with the raiding cavalry, the sixth sense, so to speak, to know that there'd be something there. And then he just says, "All right, I'm ready to go," and he breaks through. El Matador just needed a little bit more time maybe to get himself to the next age. He had the army, but just wasn't enough to hold in that moment.
Well, he got kicked off. If you remember, he got kicked off the deer. He got kicked off of that hunting spot. It took him a while to go out to the hunting spot in general. We weren't really paying attention to Matador's economy. And actually, looking at the units killed real quick, 9 villagers killed. That must have been in that last little fight. I think he only got the 1 villager kill. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now, is that Mista's economy was untouched completely. So all those dwarves on gold, he was able to hunt no problemo. He got heroic a little bit faster. And that's kind of all she wrote. Here's that first engagement where he lost the Minotaur, all the HP on those units. Great start for Mista, man. Really great start for Mista.
Yeah, this early game, like there's a maybe there's still a little bit of that, we call it legacy bias remaining, where early game Zeus pushes forward with, if you remember, Jason Odysseus, and it was just such a brutal thing for Norse players to have to deal with. But in Retold, it seems like the Norse actually has that tiny little bit of an edge at that 6-minute mark. And I think, Mister, he just finds all of that advantage, and this setup here to break through this wall as well with the throw and action to allow him into this position and find a really good fight. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, it's good army positioning there by Matador, trying to keep all those talks alive. It was awesome. But still, there's what, 1, 2, 3 trolls, all those throwing axemen. They just shredded right through those hoplites pretty quickly, despite Sarissa. And yeah,
Yeah,
after the hoplites fall, it's too much.
you almost have to just pull your hoplites all the way back to your toxotes. You can't really take any fights. Like you can't just let them fight, because a throw an axe when you're going to clean them up. So there needs to be just that little bit more positioning movement from the hoplites to get something happening there. But nonetheless, a quick first game. We're going into game number 2, and guess what we're seeing, Maiden? An exact replica of what we saw Mini Yeti and Magic. Ra, Uranus, TheMista, El Matador. What's going to be different here? Are we going to see the same thing, or is it a little bit of something new here? What do you reckon?
I would like to see something similar, because it was such an entertaining game.
Yeah.
So I'm down for the same thing. I also want to see Arena. I want to see how Arena is played just at such a high level. So I wouldn't mind if El Matador decided to just win game number 2. No problemo. I'm pretty sure that both players, I don't know if they were necessarily actively watching the stream, but they could have watched Mini Yeti against Magic, like you said, to see the dynamic between those two players. I don't know. I mean, Matador and Mist are very different players, but I could easily see something similar happening. I don't have much of a different opinion from before, honestly. I still think you're a little bit of a nut job with the whole Citadel idea in the middle of the map, but I mean, okay, possibly you're the raw player after all.
I'm not gonna bring it up again. We'll just, if they do it, they do it, and then we can go. Okay, it's a possibility.
You can gloat. You can.
I'm not gonna gloat. No, no gloating. I would be surprised. Like, so Mysta is a player who does what he practices. We know what he practiced for Red Bull because we saw it. For Genesis because we saw it. For Wrath of the Gods because we saw it. With Egyptian, he loved going for a one town center classical fight with Wadget's classical army. He just loves doing it. So maybe he keeps it happening. The Wadget was nerfed, and the monuments were nerfed. So there is a little bit like maybe this style is not the best anymore, but Mister's going to be that player that's going to try and figure that out. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go with Sphinx. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go a completely different style that we haven't seen yet either. The mind of the Mister, only the Mister knows, and maybe some of the players who practice with him might have a sort of inkling, but it'll be interesting nonetheless.
Well, in terms of the monument nerf, we saw Magic get out 4 Wadgets or 4 or 5 Wadgets like that.
Still a healthy amount, yeah.
It didn't have much of an impact on the actual execution of that strat. And I don't think it'll have a huge difference on Sphinx numbers either.
Any final words before we jump in?
I don't know. No, we've already chatted about it enough. Let's just do it. 5 seconds. Let's go.
Let's go. In the top of the map, playing as Ra. His name is TheMista. His opponent, the man who's got a big challenge in front of himself. He's going to be playing as Uranus for us. It's El Matador. Indeed. Anything we're seeing different here, Maiden, than we saw on that other one? Is there maybe a better sort of town center? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Much worse, actually, on this map.
I know. Well, you could maybe argue that El Matador's town center on that left-hand side, his forward one on the left side. Yeah, the back one's really far away, but it doesn't really protect much. But yeah, this guy right here, you could maybe argue, oh, there's a couple of town center or a gold mines, behind it. You could maybe make an argument there, but I don't think the same argument could be made for Mysta. The gold mines on Mysta's town centers are, just eons away. So I don't know if your fun little Citadel idea is going to win in this specific instance.
I don't believe it on this one.
Yeah.
But there's also another big problem in Mysta's base here. His gold mine is sticking out like a sore thumb. So I think he basically is almost forced. No, I think he is forced to play some sort of one town center classical fight idea here. Now the question becomes, when you have these sorts of situations, on the other side, do you say, well, there's a big weakness, let me try and apply pressure to it? Or you say, hang on, my opponent knows that's a weakness. He's going to be trying to cover that through strategy. Maybe we can take advantage of that and say, well, maybe we should go for our own second town center and try and say, you have to defend that. I'm okay to do this. And we play a really strange game that probably wouldn't normally happen.
Well, and then after that, you could say, well, Mysta knows that the gold mine is forward, predicts El Matador and maybe scouts it that he's not going to go aggressive and punish it. And so Mysta's going to predict the prediction, and then he's going to look ahead and say, okay, what am I going to play? And that means he's going to go for a 1 TC fast heroic into a Veil Rush. Or, sorry, not fast heroic, a 1 that would include the Scarabs. He's just going into a 1 TC Skin of the Rhino Veil Rush.
I love it. Let's see it happen. I would love to see a one town center villager Skin of the Rider, right? Just get that relic. What's it called? Pygmalion statue. Let's do it. Yes. Let's send it happening. Let's make it. It's just full send. Why not? Do we have it? No, I don't think so.
Those are good
relics on the map, though. They're all great. They're all fantastic. Not going to be upset with any of those. But then again, are there really any bad relics anymore?
That is true. Most all the relics are good these days. These are particularly good ones though.
Well, this is interesting. We've actually already got a second oracle, or fourth oracle coming out for El Matador, which does kind of indicate he's going to be going for some Promethean shenanigans. Yeah. He wants to make Prometheans, I think.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, again, we're the previous conversation about the previous match. is that both Mini Yeti and Magic, they both had plenty of opportunities to actually finish off the game, but ended up just battling it out. So I wonder if El Matador saw that and he's like, Psh, I could do that, and maybe pull it off in a bit more refined fashion. So hey, man, we got Prometheus, we got Ptah coming in. It's kind of a repeat. Only one monument for Mista at this point in time, and like you said, the additional oracle for El Matador already. So maybe we're going to see a similar thing, just slightly refined.
Yeah, Mr. He's
Perfect.
not making it. He is not like,
There's the second one.
how do I put this? He's not messing around with the opening. When we were watching Magic playing, it kind of looked like with the amount of villagers on gold, he was going for a town center. And he started moving things around when he started seeing the mass Terma coming. Mr. Nice quick advance time, 415, has 2 monuments. He's going to go straight into this double barracks, Wadget shenanigans. And are these double military academy? Is it a counter barracks? What is El Matador going for? Because you already know these barracks are coming for the Mista. It's
There we go.
double counter barracks, so El Matador is going to open up with Terma. And we are going to be basically seeing a replica of that first game, it looks like.
Yeah. We got the Promethean upgrade coming in. I can't remember. Alluvial Clay, is that what it's called? Already coming in for those Prometheans. They're going to be a little bit stronger. Yeah, it's already in. Anyway, Alluvial Clay, there we go. That is one of the most awkward looking thumbnails in the game. I don't know about you, but that's just like my opinion, man.
Well, oh, I love that movie. It's a good movie.
Oh, Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. Sorry, we gotta find. We focus here. Oh god.
Get a hold of yourself,
Right now,
boy. This is serious business, okay?
Well, right now we're seeing Mr. opening Spear Wadget, and for the start of this, he's searching for oracles all around the map. He does see this one hero oracle making a break for it. I think it's gone outside of the sort of situation, but Mr. is on the hunt. He is so close to it. He says, look at how good his vision is. His vision is impeccable. He's going to get over there. But I think if El Matador's sending units this way, it looks like he's not. He might be able to get some value back for it, but that's going to be a dead Deuterino, as El Matador is spending a lot of time killing off those forward deers instead of trying to defend his oracle. So good, nice little first pick here for the Mista.
Yeah. If you can finish it off, sheesh. The Terma, what a late reaction there. I guess El Matador is like, man, seriously? Persistent guy. And he is going to get it, finally. He earned it, man. He earned it.
Yeah. But he has to get all the way back here. Mister's going to try and slide off into the corner of the map. Not sure that El Matador actually spotted this. And that was so smart from the Mister. He's going to be able to pull all the way back to his home base and not really loot. Oh, baby, he's going to get spotted. It's going to be a little bit of damage. Tiny bit.
See the microbiome Matador is going to take some micro. Those spears going to have some little damage if you can catch those Terma.
Yeah, this is some insane control from the Mister, but in the end, I think once you snare a Terma, it looks like you can't even catch up. But these spearmen are very, very good once they actually get some damage done. But El Matador, he's going to have to micro very, very well to move forward. He's getting some Carabalis out as well, which will be scary for the Mister to deal with. But like we saw in the last game, if the heroes aren't there, those Wadgets are going to be a big problem.
Yeah, but hang on. Mista's going for straight spears. Whereas in the previous iteration, we saw Magic with more slingers rather than the infantry. There's only maybe one slinger, 0 slingers, maybe
Yeah,
one slinger
is
not many
for the moment.
Yeah, big difference there. If you can keep those numbers down, keep the Kairos alive, that's going to be huge, man.
Yeah, I kind of almost think that if he just builds, I don't know, let's call it 3 Carabalista and just heroizes them all, that's enough to make this like a defensive position, which Mister's not going to be able to push forward in. So El Matador can do this poking with the Terma, retreat back to his Carabalista, and just keep that sort of tug of war situation going.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be an interesting. He did heroize that one Kairos, so you're right about that. There he is, the chunker. Yeah, it's it's like the calm before the storm. Nobody necessarily wants to engage. Mista's kind of pushing to think that we aren't quite seeing a lot of action like we saw in the Mista, or sorry, the Magic Mini Yeti game. Maybe a little bit of some action here. I want to see what that
incredibly greedy forward gold mine from El Matador. No, he's just like, I'll put a matter up and we're going to try. This is going to be a point of weakness now that Mista's going to try and punish.
This is like the Ghostlight game with Mini Yeti. This is just a ploy. The real gold mine is on the left side.
He's him and charging forward. The Carabal's getting huge damage, huge shockwave onto those Wadget there, Maiden.
Yes. Is it enough, though? There's only 4 of them. The Prometheans are doing a pretty great job. The spears are gone, man. There's only a handful of slingers.
Fantastic micro from El Matador. All of those Carabals are still alive. And it looks to me like maybe Mr. is going to inch out a tiny victory here. But I think El Matador can just retreat back and just call this a victory and then move on to the next sort of fight.
Yeah. He still has those 4 Kairos, but ultimately, yes, all of those slingers and spears, they for the most part all went down, but the Wadgets are still completely healthy and alive. So that's still a big crux.
That was a beautiful Valor there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping that Caraballister alive, sniping off those slingers beautifully. This front line here for the Mister is just melting. It's looking really, really good for El Matador.
But there's still 5 Wadgets, man. 4.5. That guy's half dead. And that one hero Carabalist is just about dead himself. I think Mista's got to retreat a little bit here, no? Get back closer to his barracks, to his production buildings? He's more confident than I am.
No, I don't know if he can retreat, because if he does run, then the Terma just chase, right? They're just going to chase, get more damage done. So he's got he does manage to stay here. It's still okay. But those look at the resources in the bank for El Matador. He can just go heroic now, go Thea, and then all of a sudden go into a crazy amount of Contarius if he wants to.
Wow. Is that what he's going for? We're looking at his queue. He can maybe stop those merms. He's producing some more merms. So he's just floating res, cancel a couple and go myth or heroic.
It's dangerous. Mr. is going to spread out onto the map here.
Yeah.
El Matador losing a citizen on the left, it looks like. I guess this can get a little bit dangerous in terms of trying to hold all the gold mines, especially when you're splitting up like this. There is room for sky passages, but maybe the best play here for El Matador is just to slam down more military buildings and go for a gold staff himself.
Yeah, true. It's like, yes, you could invest into Heroic Age, which, adding Contarius would really complicate things. What? 7 Wadgets? Speaking of going for a gold staff, I think we know what Mista's doing.
In a way, this is a lot. Obviously, this is a lot of Wadgets. He's got a lot, but the problem for El Matador is he's spending all of his favor, it looks like, on Valors and Prometheans, which means he doesn't have the favor to really manually make heroes. He's got the resources to turn a whole bunch of Murmillos into heroes, and they can completely carve up those Wadgets, but he needs to have the Murmillo out.
Dude, I think this is such a big misplay by El Matador here. He neither went heroic nor spammed military. So he's sitting there with, 1,400 resources in the bank while Mista's spending all of his resources. And now this is turning into a sketchy little situation for him. Hero Kairos are down. The military numbers for El Matador just plummeted. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this looks like the simple story here is that El Matador just didn't spend his resources. He's got 7 Murmillo in the bank, or in the queue right now. That's like you add onto the economy. It's like he's floating 1,000. Well, he's already floating 1,000 resources, but it's like he's floating 1,500 resources at the moment.
Yeah. And he's sniffing Heroic Age, but he was just so close to going heroic, didn't actually do it, and now it's maybe too late, man. Yeah, Recon saying he doesn't know why no sky passage. Indeed, Recon, indeed. It's too late now.
You can easily move from one side to the other. They're still shifting sands to sort of chase. You kill off one sky passage, shift over the other, and maybe you're okay. But that's not even relevant when it comes down to El Matador just not getting the units out. He has the resources, so he just needs to get them out.
Exactly. Dude, he needs production buildings. I don't know what he needs at this point in time. Still a lot of resources. Losing more units to those Wadgets, man. Ay, ay, ay. Just look at the military pop difference. 32 to 112, 114. Ay.
Yeah, and now the gold staff is created, and he's the type of player. You see, if he's even healing up his Wadgets, I love that. He's the type of player, if you look at Mister's line of sight right now, he probably sees the entirety of the map. He's probably set up the entirety of those obelisks all over the place. On the other side, he sees every gold mine on the map. He sees everything basically. Oh, spearman set up as well. There's not going to be any sneaking going on here for El Matador.
Indeed. Honestly, that's Sekhmet just come. Oh, that's for Mista. So yeah, exactly. The awkward thing is that Mista invested all of his resources into producing military. He's got a nice advantage now. He cuts the production. Boom, his eco is untouched, and he's able to jump up heroic. Whereas El Matador, he was stopping production, but then kind of not completely. But then he didn't quite get heroic. But then now he's dead.
Well, yeah, the only thing he can really make is Prometheans, right? Zero gold income. Yeah. He's only got 3 oracles. Prometheans are decent, but full army for Mista. Sekhmet coming through, and it's going to be a tough one for El Matador to really make anything happen any longer here.
Indeed. Honestly, with Shifting Sands, like you said, there's like, I hate to be like, there's no hope. There's kind of no hope. If he goes out to the left side and right side to try and just, sky passage his way around, Shifting Sands is just going to put the kibosh on that right away.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and he's just sitting in the center of the map as well. He kind of knows that he's got the Shifting Sands angle. He doesn't have to use it, but he's got it, immediately getting himself heavy slingers. That gives an extra little range for the slingers to take out those Caraballas so nicely. Also slings of the sun to help taking out those Murmillos. And all of a sudden, this army here for the Mister is going to be looking very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already looking good, but it's going to be like almost unbreakable for the classical age Uranus.
Yeah. Well, here we go. This is maybe the lost loft for El Matador up on the top side of the bracket here. The slingers are going hard. Wadgets are going hard. I mean, I don't know how hard. Ooh, hello. Okay. Boy.
There's a big shockwave, but I don't think there's too many units left here. I think we're about to see a tap out for El Matador as 34 population to 96. That says more than enough right now.
It should be. El Matador agrees. Mista takes it 2-0. Honestly, Boyd, I think Mini Yeti and El Matador, they kind of gave those Ra Ranos games to Magic and Mista. I'm not going to say that Magic Mista snuck out with a win in that regard, because, they both played super well. But that was, dude, like I said, if Matador gives an opening to Mista, he's going to take it. And that was a big opening.
Yeah, credits due. Mista played this one textbook. He's shown this that he knows how to play this style really, really well. El Matador with the again, I hate to say this word, but indecisiveness. He's just spending resources, getting everything out onto the map. I feel like in the middle of the fight, the only thing remaining was Wadgets yet again, and getting the heroes through is really all that El Matador really needed to completely capitalize. Like this fight was the big one, and it looked like it was going quite well for El Matador. Yeah. Great shockwave on the Wadgets, gives his Caraballas all the time, and on the Slingers gives his Caraballas all the time there to take down the Spearmen. And then following this up, it was a matter of how do I kill Wadgets? And he couldn't do it, so he probably should have just retreated around about, well, once he picks off all of these human units, and then go ahead, slam some more military buildings down, get those resources out, or decide to go for the heroic age, maybe go into dryads and things like that. And he probably can continue along in this game and probably be in a good spot, because I think he definitely found himself an advantage.
Yes.
From this point.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it's kind of ironic. You're talking one of your comments early on about El Matador just having general great RTS skill. I completely agree. However, an important RTS skill is your macro, is using up those resources, not just banking up resources. And you can see right here, he's got hundreds of resources in the bank. This is kind of too late at this point in time for him to go heroic.
Yeah, if you just
And
think about it from just a strictly like, what does that look like if he had those units on the field? His
yeah,
population would be at like 155 right now,
yeah,
or
yeah,
he
yeah.
would have like an extra 5 Mamilla heroes, and that's a completely
Hmm.
different situation to be in this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So either go heroic or, spend the resources, but he's just so close, man. He was right there at the amount, but he just wasn't able to quite click the button.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, we expect this from the Mister. He's dominating for so long. He's a very, very solid performance. You can clearly tell he is in form, uh, and he is ready to find some serious
Boom.
advantages moving forward in this tournament. But he's going to be well and truly happy with his 2-0 victory. Going to be moving into the next stage.